Hello, David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. Wanted to take a moment to talk about marketing, merchandising, and licensing in the new world of James Bond coming up. And as we sort of take in everything that's happened around the announcement of Amazon and MGM, there's a lot of speculation going on. Where I like to get my speculation is through evidence, through discussions. Um, and of course, the people that are going to be spearheading different aspects of James Bond moving forward. And there is somebody named Jamie Campbell who has been a part of Amazon MGM's licensing and merchandising for about 4 to 5 years now, and will certainly be working on, if she hasn't started already, the world of James Bond. So, being the fan that I am, and certainly the marketer that I am, I wanted to sort of investigate what might be in store for us from a James Bond stand-up point of view in the new order of Amazon MGM. And I think I have some answers that I wanted to talk about here because it paints a lot of hope. There have been a lot of opinions. I'll call them opinions where people do not have a lot of confidence in Amazon MGM taking over for Bond. And we could take a lot of different aspects. We could focus that on movies. We could take a look at that at events. I am going to be taking a look, because of my background, from the marketing standpoint, the merchandising, the products, and the licensing, because that's my vocational world. Yes, mine is in the world of pharmaceutical marketing, but I'm always fascinated with marketing in general. Now, before we need to look forward, we need to look backwards, and we need to look at 63 years of marketing and merchandising and advertising for James Bond throughout Eon and Danjak and all 25 plus films that we have. There have been some great ones. There were the 60s where we could focus on toys and games and the spy craze that we know and love. Yes, there was even clothing back then. And all throughout, we had different iterations of James Bond products, depending on the appetite of both Eon and the manufacturers of the different products. We had games, we had toys, we had play sets. They were a little bit charming and frivolous, and they were ones that people could collect at every different price range. As we moved into the Daniel Craig era, it became a little bit more focused on a very significant lean that Eon and Danjak had around James Bond being a luxury brand. Even the character themselves sort of smacks of this. I mean, James Bond, outside of being a assassin and spy, his veneer, his disguise is often as a millionaire playboy with beautiful cars and beautiful suits and beautiful watches. And we have thus tried to emulate this character that we're so passionate about through the years. I myself, I'm wearing the NPL Goldfinger top, cashmere. I didn't know that much about cashmere before Bond wore cashmere. And watches. I was never that much into watches, but here I am wearing my Rolex one. All of a sudden, I'm into watches because James Bond is into watches, because he collects that luxury brand. And luxury brands and the merchandising around them have helped to educate us on what aspects of Bond we glom to, that we're magnetically attracted to. So in the world of licensing and merchandising and products, there's constantly an evaluation. We've all been through the Craig era. Yeah, I pronounced that correctly. And one of the things that we can walk away with is that there was a heavy lean to making sure that Eon partnered with luxury brands. You've got the NPLs, you've got the Bollingers, you've got the Tom Fords, you've got the Omegas. I mean, the list goes on. It was a wonderful moment, but many people, and this is what I've heard through the Bond community, many people felt like they had to watch it from the sidelines. Even my reviews. They would enjoy my reviews, but at the end of the day, they said, I can't do an Omega watch. I don't have $5,000 to $7,000. I can't do it. So instead of feeling inclusive, they felt like the merchandising and the products were often exclusive and, quite frankly, out of their reach, and therefore out of range of feeling any kind of connection with it. All right. So now we here into today. And part of being in the world of today and merchandising and licensing is understanding what's going to now come up. And we have to focus on Amazon MGM. So I talked to you about this. Wait for it. Here we go. Where brands meet business Licensing Expo 2025. So this is an article that I used, one of a few articles actually. And in this case, the reason I wanted to show it to you is something very simple. Jamie Campbell, here she is right here. So Jamie is the head of licensing and merchandising for Amazon MGM. And what I've been fascinating in looking at her different articles is this whole idea of how Jamie and Amazon MGM Studios sees consumer products and licensing. So for example, they bring a lot of expertise to this. Let's scroll down a little bit. Here we go. First question was, can you discuss some key collaborations and success stories? And where they really focused on this, I'm going to kind of circle this right here. At Amazon MGM Studios, we consistently put the fans first as we develop our licensing strategy. We generally take a more focused approach to new IP by leaning into Amazon Merch on Demand, a print-on-demand service that enables us to create products for sale on Amazon. So let's just stop there for a moment. I'm loving the fact that they listen to fans first. This is not going to be the first time you're going to hear Jamie talk about this in different articles. And by the way, this is one article. There's 6 or 7 I came upon. There were a few videos of her at trade shows. She really puts herself out there as a representative of Amazon MGM and Amazon Studios to be connected with the different IP franchises. From a storytelling standpoint, yes, but what do the fans want? For example, if fans want toys in the world of James Bond, they're going to research that and really take that in and embrace it. If they want play sets, if they want figures that are 3 3/4 or 12-inch, or gadgets that exist on your desk. So a stapler is a gadget from the James Bond films. They have the ability to research and tap the James Bond fan on the shoulder and ask, do you like this? More importantly, because of Amazon's print on demand, post on demand, create on demand engines, the technology that they have, because they are Amazon, they're able to create product nearly in real time. What I love about that is instead of saying, you know, something, we're going to have these long drawn out licensing agreements, which in cases they still will with luxury brands. They're not walking away from that, I'm sure. But they're going to be looking at what can the existing Amazon engine create that all of us James Bond fans really crave. Now, we've got to talk about some of the details in here because in this, they talk about the different slates, like on Prime Video, Legally Blonde, etc. But I love the fact that they're talking about trends. So here, this is the perfect one. What trends are shaping the licensed entertainment market at the moment? And she says, consumers have more content to choose from than ever before. We believe the most successful consumer products have to feel authentic and fan-driven. There it is again. We also help lean into trends that help customers further celebrate their fandom and bring them closer to their story. All right, pause for a second. We are dissecting this in a big way because I think this provides our clues to what type of products we're going to have moving forward. And there is the third time, the fandom word, the fact that they are drinking and pulling from what does fandom enjoy and like. Now, I could sit here and say, from an Amazon standpoint, are they possibly taking this same approach by creating some of the tropes in their stories instead of building an art house story or something too individual that doesn't connect with what the fans really want, that triumphant moment or the different characters in a story? Are they taking the pulse of what the fans want and love and coming up with the James Bond elements of the new Amazon MGM world? If that is the case, then most of us are going to be very, very happy. I mean, we always We bite our nails before every movie thinking, oh, are they going to have a gun barrel? Are they going to have the music? Are they going to have this and that and these and our favorite things? And if Amazon MGM is taking their process, chances are they're making sure that they're building a world of James Bond that we love. Now, let me flip it back to products and licenses and merchandising and things like that. It sounds like what they're going to create are things that we crave. And again, this is please, 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 it's not a diss of the marketing teams that have come before Amazon MGM that have focused on James Bond. I am probably one of the biggest fans of the marketing of James Bond and the products. I have a basement filled with it. I have closets filled with it. Clearly, I'm a fan of what they did, what they came out with. If you've seen any of my reviews, I gushed almost like a child on a Christmas morning. I gushed over these different products. But I'm really curious to see what a world under Amazon MGM where it's personalized a little bit more for the fans. There's a great moment in one of these articles where Jamie talks about a situation where Amazon MGM, the studio, observed fans in cosplay, in wearing clothing. They observed fans on their websites. They observed fans on their YouTube channels. And they listened and watched and observed like gorillas in the mist. They took a look at this strange creature, in our case, the James Bond fan, but fans in general of their different IP properties. And they said, let's respect the fans because the fans know that there is an automatic foundation to the marketing engine. Why would we recreate an established foundation? Take Star Wars, for example. There was a fandom before there was a Disney Plus. Before there was a Kathleen Kennedy, before there was a Dave Filoni, there was this foundation that you could either take heed and measure and truly understand what they love. And then as you release these things, say, oh, they loved the figures and play sets. They hated the overly priced t-shirts. Let's reduce the overly priced t-shirts and raise up the play sets and make more. If they listen, if they truly listen, if any of these companies or studios listen to the fans, honestly, it acts as a megaphone, as an amplifier to what they should be focusing on. And I hate to say the fans know best, but as a fan, I'm going to say this. The fans know what the general audience likes. And you could say that, wait a minute, they're fanatical. I mean, there comes the word fanatical. They're too big. They're too passionate. Yes, but they also are the cinematic everyday Joe. And they know what they've glommed onto. They know the tropes and the nostalgic moments that are going to drive people to the theater. They're your sort of expert focus group that if you want to take advantage of them, you'll do very well. Amazon, you could see Jamie's articles out there, have done a great job in mentioning that it is about the fans. Look at this. How do you see the strategy of bringing entertainment franchises to life changing? This is a quote. Fans have always been at the core of any franchise. Through the rise and popularity of social media, it's become easier than ever to understand fan sentiment, see how they engage the IP, and meet them where they are. New technologies are also changing the way we bring entertainment franchises to life. Through Prime Video, for example, fans can enjoy content and then shop for exciting products inspired by what they watch from the comfort of their living room. This kind of offering makes it even more important that the licensing programs we curate fit seamlessly within the storylines that fans see on the screen. Okay. Guys and gals, if nothing else, please connect to that quote that I just read, because I want to break it apart, because the more cynical of us could say, wow, it's just a better way for them to market to us. Yes, because it's personalized. Look, let's say we're watching a James Bond series, whatever it is. Let's say it's about the double O's that are being trained. Okay, so it's about MI6. And it's not about James Bond. James Bond is the tentpole movies every 2 years, but there's a series called The Double O. And the double O are a group of, again, young double O's that are in their, excuse the pun, infancy of being trained in their first 3 years or whatever it is. And let's see an ad pops up there for a particular jacket that's being worn in the show. That would make my life so much easier. Like, I wouldn't have to sit there and be a dark detective and track it down and do all that. Like, no more work. It's right there. Click. The other thing is, I might be served up a totally different ad than you would be served up based on preferences, based on socioeconomical status, based off of geography. We could get personalized ads that are more attuned to what we like. So the more I do these things, the more it personalizes my experience. We have become a society of loving personalized experience. Burger King started it, maybe, right? Hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, special order, don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way. Have it your way. At Burger King, I just lost half my audience by singing. This is what happens. But my point being is that Burger King set up this scenario that you can make your own Whopper. You know, you can make your own thing at Burger King. We're not going to push some sort of Big Mac on you where we set the ingredients. No, we'll do it according. You want extra pickles? We got extra pickles. Amazon MGM and Prime Video are basically saying we will give you your extra pickles. But truly, I mean, this is what they're talking about doing. They're first of all taking a fan approach of listening, hearing, and seeing and knowing what drives us as fans. But the other thing that I can't ignore is that we may be getting some products and merchandises that we've been asking for years. The things that we're craving, that we've been wanting, it's at our doorstep. I'm feeling it through Jamie and others at Amazon because this is how they approach the IP. And this is not any IP. Intellectual property, by the way, for those of you that don't know that acronym. This is James Bond. And to Amazon, I happen to know for a fact, this is the crown jewel. This is, yes, Fallout was a big winner for them in 2024 and moving forward, but this is the crown jewel. This will be the crown jewel of Amazon for them. James Bond, you know, heritage-wise, sweet tooth-wise, well-known-wise, asset-wise, from a financial standpoint, and a lot of their investment will not just come from content, or streaming or anything like that, and not just from tentpole movies in the cinema. It's going to happen through merchandising and licensing and products. And if we're not interested in the products and they're not purchased, guess what? It will not be supported from a business standpoint. They will have a fail, and they're not about failure. And they're doing it right by listening to the fans and taking the pulse. The other thing is they listen to the fans and they know that they need to have conventions. They need to have events. They need to be where the fans are and where they want to be. So, you know, a lack of events and conventions over these many years, and I'm just going to say it, you know, we've craved it so much as fans that we've had to create our own. We've done a great job, and I don't think that's going to stop. But Amazon, I would imagine, with their wherewithal, with their investment, with their revenue, can tap us on their shoulder and go, hold my beer. And listen, this is not to discount and neutralize the charming, homegrown, and authentic aspect of having fan events. But maybe they'll incorporate a fan or two or three or a bunch or fan clubs to help build out what should these events be? What could they be? What can a James Bond convention be like? Can you imagine, you know, going to Los Angeles or going to London and being a part of a James Bond true authorized convention? I don't think that's happened since 1995. 1995, people. So, I mean, I hope you can hear it in this is genuine too. I hope you can hear it in my enthusiasm. I am so excited about what is at our doorstep around the licensing and merchandising, the productization of our James Bond. And I'm going to say that like that, our James Bond, because we own it as fans. Yes, we could say that Amazon, MGM have now owned the creative. We own the love and the passion of this character. But I really think Amazon MGM gets that ownership. We're almost like co-owners with them. And if I listen to Jamie, what makes me very happy with her quotes, and not just her quotes, her actions, because it's easy to say, oh, we're all about the fans. It's so easy to say in a publicity. And others have said that before there, and they don't often pay that off. But Amazon has, if I look at the 5-year engagement of fans, of the embracing of them, the listening to them, and then paying that off from a productization standpoint and a content standpoint, Amazon's making good on what they're saying. And boy, folks, that gives me just more than a quantum of solace. It gives me a bushelful of solace. But that's not a good film title, Bushelful of Solace, directed by Mark Forster. Nah, just doesn't come off. Anyway, wanted to talk to you about that. This is my world of marketing, so I get very passionate, excited about it. I wanted to share it with you. Tell me what you think. Are you excited about new products coming? Are we going to get 3 3/4 Star Wars like James Bond figures and play sets? Are we going to get a Volcano play set? What's your wish list from a product standpoint? I want to see it below. I've got mine. I want James Bond desk items that are in the shape of well-known gadgets that we can then utilize on our corporate desks. And I want them to be affordable. I want to go to Amazon and I want it to be delivered the next day. That's how I want it, with the box with a big smile on it. No small ask. All right. This has been David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. We'll see you all real soon. Take care. Cheers. Thanks for watching the Bond Experience. If you like what you saw, why don't you subscribe to the channel by clicking this button right here. We'll keep you up on everything new that's happening in the world of Bond. And speaking of something new, here's something new just for you, because we know you so well. Talk to you soon.